All right, cool. So yeah, there's two big things that I want to get through. I don't think we're going to get through all of them because you said you have a time constraint. So
Hmm.
they're essentially talking about the siege, specifically how it relates to electricity and water, and I pulled up all the statistics on that. But the other thing, which I think is probably bigger, is just the case after case of the either indiscriminate murder of civilians or even purposeful targeting. So let's just go through these one at a time. I basically pulled up a video for each one of these things as well as the surrounding information, and then we can kind of try to go through this. So let's take a look at the first one. This one's pretty egregious, but let me know your thoughts. So we have four people. One of them has a passport. One of them has a white flag. They open fire, and one of them is dead. Is this a discriminate bombing in your opinion, or is this straight up just targeting civilians?
Well, is it a bombing? I don't think there were any bombs, were there?
Shooting, I mean shooting. Like they got shot.
Shooting. I mean, it seems like they got shot. I don't know if those people are civilians. I don't know why they were shot at.
Well, they have a white flag and they have their passport. It clearly seems like they're not like if you're holding a white flag, that's a national sign for hey, I'm not an enemy. I come in peace.
Yeah, but I mean, Hamas has waved white flags and then attacked people before. So I mean, again, I don't know. Do you know the identities of the people in this video?
I could probably find it, but I don't know their exact identities.
Well, we
But
don't even know who they are. Then literally, what is the? How do we know what we're even looking at?
well, we do know we're looking. We know this took place in Gaza. We know there was happened in the last 3 months, and we know there's four civilians. One of them waving a white flag.
Wait, wait. You keep saying that word. There's a couple issues. One is we don't know if they're civilians. You have no idea. It doesn't sound like you have an idea who's in the video. So we don't know that. Number one, and number two, we don't even know exactly where this is. Are they near like a military checkpoint? Is that like a no trespassing area? Are they being told that they're not allowed to go here? And that's ignoring the fact that we don't have the footage before and after, so we don't even know like what the context of this is. It's like a 40-second video.
This is supposed to be a safe zone. This is the only one where I don't have as much context for. The other ones I have much more details. But yeah, I mean, like just looking at it on the surface, like it's kind of hard to make an argument for this. And this is not the only case. There's been so many
Wait, wait,
cases.
wait, 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 wait. One at a time. Wait. One, always.
I'm almost done.
Okay.
There's been multiple cases of people with white flags.
No, wait. Okay, one at a time. Okay.
It's
No.
really hostage. Okay.
Okay. We should be able to build this one thing at a time. Okay. So in this video, here are my questions. Okay. These are questions I would never even begin to have an opinion on it. I can't even have a strong opinion. The first is where exactly is this shooting happening? Because they could be in an area that they're not supposed to be in. It might literally clearly be marked as a do not come here zone. That might be the case. So the first is where is the area that is happening? The second is who are the people? I don't know if they're civilians. Those literally could be Hamas militants. We have no idea. Number two. Number three is do I have any footage before and after, or is I literally just getting a 30-second clip? Because I don't know what is preceding or coming after this. And then four, I don't even know really, do we see who's even shooting at these people? Is that even shown in the video?
Yeah. So here I have all the information you're asking for. So it was reported in the Al Mazi neighborhood in Khan Yunis, which the Israeli military designated as a safe zone.
Wait. Can you throw me a link for this?
Sure. It's NBC News. There you go.
Okay. We have a group of Palestinian men waving a white flag is shot at, killing one. The incident recorded in a neighborhood of Khan Yunis that the Israeli military had designated as a designated a safe zone raises more questions about the treatment of civilians in the war. The five men, fear etched on their faces, lift their hands in the air as they try to walk down a desolate and relatively quiet street in southern Gaza. Plumes of dark smoke billow into the air close by. A young man holds a makeshift white flag aloft. The small group is trying to reach family members trapped down the street. A middle-aged man says on camera, gesturing with his hands, a gold wedding ring gleams on one of his fingers. Moments later, shots rip through the buzzing sound of drones, and the men duck to take cover. But before they are able to get away, the man with the wedding ring collapses. The incident recorded in the Al-Mawasi neighborhood in Khan Yunis, which the Israel military had designated a safe zone. I don't know what that means. I'll just
a designated safe zone, an area that Israel said is safe to go to.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the case. I have to see what they mean when they say that, but apparently that doesn't link to anything.
What is your source that it's not a safe zone? The articles, NBC News is saying that it's a safe zone. It's a fairly credible media. Like,
hold on, the sources don't work by if CNN says that it's true. Hold on, I'm just asking questions about. I don't know what safe zone means. So, for instance, there's a lot of people that say that Israel said the south of all of Gaza is going to be a safe zone that won't be attacked. That's not true. Israel never said that. But there was less military operations are going to take place there. When we say that this area is a safe zone, I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means that there are just no bombings. I don't know if that means there's going to be no military activity whatsoever. I don't know what safe zone means, other than they say it's a safe zone.
Well, so generally when Israel gives instructions to Palestinians, they don't give like a super detailed breakdown. Hey, over here, this area is there's going to be no military activity, blah, 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 because there's literally military activity everywhere. When they say safe zone, is they essentially mean, hey, this is somewhere safe where you can go, where you're less likely to be killed.
Okay. So that might be true. Okay. So I guess we can go with that for now. So less likely to be killed. The incident recorded on a safe zone unfolds in 9 videos obtained and verified by NBC News. Raises more questions about the Israeli forces' treatment of civilians caught in the war, which already has killed 24,000 Palestinians, including 10,000 children. Oh wait, hold on. The gunfire subsides. The locals flock to drag the body off the street. A woman screams. Presence stops to be heard. Gunfire breaks out again, and a larger group takes shelter in the courtyard of a nearby university. Ahmed Hijazi, a Palestinian videographer who witnessed the event and recorded the videos, told NBC News that the bullets came from one of several nearby Israeli tanks. The tanks directly fired at the dead man, and one of the bullets went straight into his heart. He was immediately killed, said Hijazi, who ran back to the group after the shooting, continued recording. NBC News cannot confirm Hijazi's account of who opened fire, which aligns with the report on the same incident by the British news network ITV News, which showed different angles in a separate video verified by NBC News. According to the building, Israeli tanks are seen lining the road. Israeli military said this week that it had encircled the area, with its troops deepening their ground offensive to the west of Khan Yunis. Further videos of the scenes show Hijazi and other displaced Palestinians running to retrieve the mortally wounded man who is bleeding from his chest. NBC News provided the Israeli Defense Forces with a raw single-take video of the shooting, its precise location at the time it occurred, and asked whether Israeli forces had fired at the men. A spokesperson said the IDF was not aware of this incident and that the video is clearly edited and we have no way to comment. The spokesperson declined to say whether IDF soldiers were in the area Monday. Hamas officials did not immediately respond to requests for information and comment on the incident. Before the incident, the group of men had hoped to reunite with the 50 or so family members that they had been split up from, according to the men's comments on camera and the eyewitness interview conducted by NBC News. According to the man with the wedding band, his brother and his brother's children were surrounded by Israeli tanks, and the men were returning east in the hopes of retrieving them. They didn't bring my brother. We want to get him out, God willing, the man says in the video minutes before he is killed. In the third of the videos, recorded just after 3 p.m. Monday, the 5 men begin to walk along the road towards the smoke. One of them holds a green ID card, in addition to the white flag. When at least 3 gunshots were fired, killing the older man, we carried him and took him to his wife and daughter, his family member said. There's a doctor there, and he performed artificial breathing and pressure so he could see if he was still breathing. Is this Pallywood, guys?
Wait, what's funny about that? I mean, I have a dark sense of humor too, but I don't think what's funny about a dude literally on his deathbed.
It's 3 guys walking in an area that I'm guessing they're not supposed to be at to go take a guy who's encircled by a military with a cameraman ready and a hospital staff waiting nearby. It just sounds like Pallywood to me. That's very funny to me. But I'm just going to keep reading. What?
Are you hinting at it's a conspiracy?
I'm not hinting at a conspiracy. It's just it's very convenient. They have all these things literally ready to go right here. The fact that they're even filming it initially already shows you that they think something bad is happening, right?
Well, a lot of things are being filmed. I'm going to show you later a video of a girl who was filming a video for Brother as a joke, and then he gets shot, and you see her kind of excitement turn to screaming and distress. So a lot of people are filming everywhere. We have a lot of things that just get caught on tape. I don't really think that's indicative of anything. In fact,
it might not be. It's not.
Think about all the cases there are where there was no video evidence. So this was one of the few cases where there is video evidence.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not saying that it's not like a 100% conclusive. I'm just saying it's interesting that even in the Palestinian-friendly version of this story, apparently they're walking towards an adult man who is surrounded by the Israeli military. They're being filmed, and there's a doctor on... What?
For a fact, it's not a man being surrounded, it's a guy who's dead, right?
No, wait. It says that it sounds like...
I thought it was dead. He was dead.
Did I read this incorrectly? Hold on. Let me scroll back up.
Yeah, take a look. That's what I thought, but 100%.
It said, before the incident, the group of men had hoped to reunite with the 50 or so family members they had been split up from, according to the men's comments on camera in the eyewitness interview conducted by NBC News. According to the man with the wedding band, his brother and his brother's children were surrounded by Israeli tanks, and the men were returning east in the hopes of retrieving them.
Okay, my bad. I misread that part.
Sure. I also don't know, when they say the man and his children, are they like 4 or are they like 20?
It's not really relevant. So these well, let me explain, because I'm not making an argument because of the man and the children they were trying to retrieve. Let's just assume, for argument's sake, they're like 19, 20 years old. So what we see is, and according to this article, we see 4 people who want to reunite with their family member. And the biggest thing is they come in peace. They're showing their passport and the white flag, and they're not moving. That's the biggest part. They're not moving. They're just standing there. No weapons, white flag, passport, not moving, and they still get shot. And this is, on one hand, we have NBC News, all the videos, every like third-party organizations verifying it. On the other side, we have just the IDF, which is like, oh, we never did it.
Okay, so here would be a question. Is it possible that these people were told not to advance? Is it possible that they were entering like a militarily secured area, or there was an operation they were told, do not come in this area?
In the same sense that it's possible that I'm going to grow up to be 7 feet tall. Anything is possible. I don't think it's likely, especially because they're standing. They're standing, right? So they're not, like, if you could have an argument that they're advancing forward, right, and they're moving forward, but they're literally just standing with a white flag and a passport out. At this point, they're not a threat.
Hold on. What video are you watching? Wait, the tab on this picture is literally Palestinian men walk with their hands raised, carrying a white flag before being shot at. And in the article, it says they're trying to reunite with their family.
That was the ultimate intention, but do you see how, like, when the shooting took place, they were just standing?
After walking?
They walked a little bit, and then I guess they got to an area where they saw some IDF, and then they just froze. Kind of like, you know, when police is like, you see a police officer, you might be worried being shot, you just freeze, put your hands up, right? And also they have a white flag. You don't have that in normal circumstances. But if the situation was, if the situation was reversed, if this happened to an Israeli, yeah, that would be a lot of fucking shit. But yeah, so at that point in time, I'm not just screaming if they're walking, but then they're standing, passport, white flag.
So it seems like, just to be clear, literally, when they're walking, they get shot. They get shot when they're walking, not when they're standing. So I'm looking at the video and I'm going to, like, 21 seconds. They're literally walking. I see them walking towards, and then they get shot. And there's a cut right before then. It sounds like they're waving a flag, so they know there is IDF past this point. Do we not think that it's possible? I'm only asking for possible. I would actually personally guess highly probable that they were told, do not advance, do not come over here. Is that at least possible in your mind?
Yeah, it's possible. Anything is possible. So I went back and watched it. So they were standing for a while, and then they started slowly walking, very, very slowly. So kind of like where you're just not really moving, but you're sort of moving. They weren't like actually actively walking towards that area. And we don't have any. So what you're saying is,
wait. Did you say they weren't? Wait, hold on. We have to agree on like what we're even seeing. You're saying they weren't walking towards that area?
No, that's not what I said. I said that initially they started walking, then they stopped, and they're just standing with a passport white flag. And then when the shooting took place, they were like very like crawling basically towards. So they were technically moving, but they're not.
Okay, wait. I just so that we're all on the same page, can you show your audience? I want you to go to 18 seconds, and I want you to show your audience. You're describing this as they were barely crawling towards the.
I'm making it here. I'll just show you.
Okay, go ahead, and then we'll watch.
Do you see my screen?
Yep, I can see it. Okay, so we've got these guys here. Then there's going to be a cut.
So they're not rapidly walking, very slowly walking.
Well, hold on. Why are we using all these words? They're walking. I don't know why we're saying they're not rapidly walking. They're walking. They were walking towards an area.
It makes a difference. If there was a shooting that took place with a police officer, it would make a big difference if you were like running at the cop or walking really fast. If you're walking very slowly, that would make a difference.
No, not really. No.
And also, if we're going to try to take the best faith argument, why couldn't they just give warning shots? These people clearly retreated.
Wait. Why would they get warning shots? We can see in the video that they're holding a white flag in their passport. Sounds like they already know there's a warning issued. Why would we need shots?
That could just be simple precaution, dude.
Wait. Hold on. I just want to restate what you're saying so we're in agreement. You're saying that they have no idea that there are enemies down the street. They just happen to be holding and recording right here, stopped with a white flag and a passport, because they do this every single street they go down?
Not what I'm saying at all. Can you repeat back what you think I said?
It sounds like you're saying it. You said it could just be a precaution.
Yeah. So we don't actually know what you're asking. Is certainly possible. What you're saying happened. But what I'm saying is these are 4 people. They have a white flag, basically slowly moving. Is it possible that Israel gave them a warning? It's possible. We have no evidence for it. We're just speculating. But what the evidence that we do have for is, number 1, these people had a white flag. Number 2, they had their passport out. Number 3, they were civilians. Number 4, one of them was killed.
Wait. You don't know. Wait, you're making assumptions.
Number 5, NBC News, and it seems like another news organization, verified all the footage and came to the conclusion that it was legitimate. That's what we know.
Okay. Here, this is what let's see. What do we actually know? Okay. What do we know? Here's what we know. Okay. The men are. What?
Tell me what you think you know.
Well, that's what we're going through. Okay. So the men are trying to retrieve family members who are currently surrounded by IDF forces. Do we know that?
That's according to the article. That's true.
Okay. So there's one. Okay. The second thing we know, we see 4 adult men in the video. We know that, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, one of them is a really old dude, but yeah, it doesn't matter.
Okay. We see them holding up a white flag plus a passport in the video. Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. And we see them walking towards an area of presumed danger.
Potentially, yeah.
I think easily we can surmise that from the video that we're seeing.
Right.
There is black smoke that is billowing from ahead. There is videos recording behind them. All of them are facing the same direction, waving flags. It looks like they're looking into a building where there might be IDF troops or something. There's very, very, very clearly, like, we should be able to easily assume this.
Okay, so you're down the street. Your mom is surrounded by police officers, and you very slowly, with your hands out, walk and say, officer, wait, hang on a second. Very slowly walking, showing you're not a threat, and the police shoot you. Would that be a justified shooting? Would that be?
I don't know. I have no idea how that relates to this. I'm just trying to figure out. Wait, I'm just trying to figure out what we're seeing here. Okay.
Well, it's pretty clear what we're seeing.
Well, clearly not.
You're like massive devil's advocate.
Hold on, wait. To be clear, just to be clear, okay? I'm just walking through the logic here. My side of the story is way easier to justify than yours. You're making a ton of insane assumptions. I'm going by only just what you show me, what's in the article, and my story is almost definitely. What
are the assumptions you think I'm making?
Well, hold on. Well, let's just walk through the logic.
What are the assumptions you think I'm making?
There's no reason to jump ahead.
No, I want to figure out, because I don't actually think you understand what I'm trying to argue. So tell me, what are the assumptions that I'm making? Are unrealistic.
What are these? Hold on. I gotta think for a second. One assumption you've made is that they're all civilians. And it sounds like you're running with the assumption that over 51% chance they weren't issued an order to stop advancing or to evacuate.
No, never said that. I don't know. I said it's possible. We don't know that. We're speculating.
Okay. Well, if it was the case that the IDF said, okay, so maybe this is our primary point of contention. Were they given a warning? Okay, so let's ask this. If the IDF had said, stop, don't advance, and then shot them when they continued to advance, would that be fair?
No.
What are they supposed to do?
Typically, they would give a warning shot in this situation.
I don't think I know police don't do warning shots. Why would a military do a warning shot? If you're not going to listen to an officer with a gun pointed at you saying stop, why would a warning shot make them turn back?
Well, typically, they would actually try to communicate with them. So they would go on the bullhorn and say, hey, don't do that, don't do that. We don't see any of that in the video. There's no account that they're warning them. But assuming that was the case, I don't think it's justified to shoot 4 civilians. One of them was a white flag.
Wait. Why do you keep saying civilians? You don't know that. Why do you keep saying that?
I believe that's what the article said. Did it not? I have to go back into it.
I see they say call them locals. I don't know. We don't even know if they're civilians. The IDF definitely doesn't know if they're civilians.
Well, if they were not civilians, then the IDF and its response would have said, hey, they were Hamas fighters.
The IDF might not want to comment or might just not know.
So then they just opened fire on someone who they weren't sure was a civilian or a military target.
Why did they open fire on them?
We don't know. We're speculating.
Why do you think they opened fire on them?
Yeah, I don't know what's inside the mind of an IDF soldier. There could be many possibilities.
Wait. We see people walking towards an area where we know there's a troop position. They're trying to get family members out that they say in the article are surrounded by the IDF. I feel like we can make some very easy assumptions here.
Do these people seem like they pose a threat to the IDF?
Do you know what a suicide bomber looks like? What do you mean, do they seem like they pose a threat? That doesn't matter. You don't have to look like you pose a threat. You have no idea who posed a threat. You could very easily have...
you just shoot everybody then?
I didn't say you shoot everybody. When you're dealing...
Logical step.
No, the logical step is... No.
Shoot everybody.
The logical step is if somebody is approaching an area and you tell them, hey, stop, don't come here, and they keep coming, then you probably are clear to shoot them in a combat zone.
But you have no evidence that's what happened.
That
they were told, don't come here. You have no idea if there was any communication between them and IDF and what that communication was.
Okay, so why do you think that they're stopped here with a white flag and a passport? What was your rationale? Mine is they were probably told, don't advance. That's my guess. I think it's a very good guess. I think it's probably 60, 70% what happened.
Yeah, so I'm trying to answer a question, but last time I tried to interrupt me. So let me finish and you'll see what my... So again, why were they stopping? Could be a number of things. Number one could be is most likely scenarios they're probably worried about their safety. They saw a tank or something like that, and they want to ensure that they didn't pose any threat. That does not mean, though, that the tank or the people in the tank or the soldiers on the ground told them, hey, stop, don't look further. Most likely, in my opinion, is they saw the flag, they saw the tank or they saw the soldiers, and they just want to communicate that, hey, we don't pose any threat to you. That's the most likely explanation. Why did the IDF soldiers shoot it? It could be a number of reasons. This is pure speculation. It could be there was one guy who's overzealous and had a trigger happy finger. It could be that totally this is just they don't give a fuck. It's like whatever, fuck these people. Let's just shoot them anyway. It could be any number of things. But just one last point. This is not like a one-off case.
No, wait, we're not doing that. You can't support this evidence by saying there are other examples of this yet. Okay.
Just one point. It's directly related.
It's not direct. It's saying that there are other videos of this. It's not related to this.
You know what the point I'm making is.
Okay.
So to go back to how trigger happy the IDF can be, they literally shot three of its own hostages, like Israeli people, who were also waving a white flag. So they're so trigger happy, they've even killed their own people.
Okay. Wait a second. Holy shit.
Can you at least acknowledge that?
No, hold on, wait, no, because I haven't seen videos of that too. You can't support bad evidence with good evidence. It doesn't work that way. Here's a question. Hold on, I'm curious, because this video is so... Also, I like that you're taking this highly edited video too, which is funny, but I've got a question. If we watch this video...
NBC News said they verified all the videos. Did you miss that part?
What do you think that means?
That means they looked at all the raw footage and they verified it. That it's legit, that the story lines up. And also said there was another organization, I think BBC.
Wait. When you say verified the video footage, it just means that the video footage is authentic. We're arguing about what's in the video footage, not if it's real or false. We're not arguing over the authenticity of the footage.
No, apparently there was multiple people there. Let me see. So yeah, so they're okay. So this is kind of how they lined it up. They looked at the videos from the area. They looked at they interviewed the people who were there, and there's also yeah. So
wait, here's
just one last thing. So British News Network (ITV) did a report on the same incident, which showed different angles in a separate video, verified by NBC News and recorded from a building Al-Taska University. Israel claims to see lining the road. So yeah, so a lot of this stuff is supported by a lot of evidence.
Okay.
There's a massive conspiracy going on.
No, don't. We don't need to jump that. Here's a question, okay? If we watch from 20 seconds and onwards, all right? At 22, 23 seconds, notice how they all run back, and then at 26 seconds, there's another cut, and then the guy is on the ground. Is there a chance that we're seeing warning shots at 22 seconds, and then they go back?
Theoretically, it's possible, but I don't think NBC News and the British News Network would say that if that was the case. If they looked at all the evidence, interviewed the people who were there, they came to the conclusion, two separate news organizations came to the conclusion independently that what we're seeing is true, that what you're saying did not happen. You can take any video I show you and play massive devil's advocate and say,
no, to be clear, I'm not playing any devil's advocate. This is incredibly basic questions that you would ask.
I guarantee you, if the shoes were flipped and this was Russia and Ukraine, and there was the same video of Russians shooting Ukrainians like that, you'd be like, Russia, war criminals, fuck these guys. But sometimes when it comes to the Palestinians, you give like the idea of every benefit of the doubt. Like,
none of that is, even if that was the case, then I was biased in one direction. That still isn't a good argument for this. But also, I challenge you to find me being biased towards one direction or the other. I just call them as I see them. Does NBC have all the raw footage?
I don't know. I don't know if they do. It seems like according to this report, they do. But I don't know why we have to like go down like each one of these rabbit holes. Like,
whoa! Because this is how propaganda works. You call it a rabbit hole. I just like to verify what I'm watching. If you've covered any Middle Eastern wars before, people do all sorts of wild propaganda with these videos.
It was already verified by NBC News.
When you say verified, it just means the footage is real. It doesn't tell us what we're actually seeing.
No, they also spoke to the witnesses, and they also had another video from a different angle, and they confirmed all these things align.
Okay, do you want to watch this with me? We can just watch this. Somebody linked this. Apparently this is from another angle, I guess.
Okay, sure. You want me to share my screen or?
I'll watch it on mine. Let me know when you're ready to start, okay?
Yeah, can you share my screen so I can see it? Share your screen?
I can't do that because it's on another computer, so it's really complicated for me.
Let's do it on my end.
What's the what?
Let's do it on my end.
Do it on the what? Your thing keeps cutting out.
Yeah, let's do it on my end.
Oh, okay, go for it then.
Aware of the incident. It then said,
what timestamp do you want me to go to? This like 6 minutes long.
Start from 0 and just go. Fuck it.
Okay, I do want to really get through some of the other stuff. Like, okay, yeah, let's do that.
We had edited pictures. Those pictures last week, accusations of an Israeli war crime from around the world. Now, an Israeli general has come close to owning up, saying his troops were in the area and there are mistakes. This is war, he said.
The general said there are mistakes. This is war. All you need to know.
Of a husband.
That doesn't say anything.
Civilian shot dead.
It changes everything because then
that's not a comment on this specific incident.
It absolutely is. He's talking about this incident. The general that was talking about this incident.
Wait, I thought that we already said in the article that they didn't comment on this particular incident. He's saying that he's saying for this particular incident, an accident happened.
No, they did. They did comment on this situation. They did comment. You can see it in the article that I linked to. They do comment, but they don't. But it's. I think you can tell a lot by the way Israel comments. So whenever there's like a misrepresentation, they very aggressively point out, like, "Hey."
Okay, here, real quick. Okay, you play this for your audience, and I'm gonna play this for mine, and we'll watch and I'll listen and see what happens. I'll see what's going on here.
Saying his troops were in the area and there are mistakes. Told us it was not aware of the incident. It then said we had edited the pictures. Those pictures last week.
Wait. Can you just play this on your end and don't play it through the thing so that I can play on mine and listen?
I can mute myself.
Yeah. Okay. And then I'm just gonna listen to this real quick.
From around the world. Now, an Israeli general has come close to owning up, saying,
"Wait, I can still hear the video on this thing."
There are mistakes. This is war," he said.
The funeral of a husband and a father, a Palestinian civilian.
Can you just watch it on my end, or you want?
The problem is your mic is like cutting stuff out like crazy, so I can't hear any of the audio. It's like fucking me super hard.
Let me try something. I think this might help. Okay, how's the audio now? Is that better?
Well, you're not playing the video, so I can't tell.
Okay, let me play the video.
Or here, can you just stop screen sharing? Or are you like broadcasting the screen share?
Dead under a white flag and with his hands up.
Was that bad or good?
Here, fuck. Hold on. I'm muting this and I'll be back in like 3 minutes, okay? I'm just gonna watch on mine and mute this. Hold on.
Okay, sure. All right, guys. Let's go through some more grisly footage. Let's take a look.
Carrying a white flag in Gaza, who was shot dead. The Israeli military told us it was not aware of the incident. It then said we had edited the pictures. Those pictures last week prompted accusations of an Israeli war crime from around the world. Now, an Israeli general has come close to owning.
So first they said they had no idea, and then an Israeli general is basically owning up to it and saying it was a mistake.
Up, saying his troops were in the area and there are mistakes. This is war.
There are mistakes, implying that there was no valid reason for shooting them. It was a mistake.
He said.
The funeral of a husband and a father, a Palestinian civilian shot dead under a white flag and with his hands up. Ramzi Abu Salul was killed in southern Gaza on Monday of last week. He was one of 5 men waiting to see if Israeli soldiers positioned a few hundred meters away would let them cross battle lines to rescue relatives. A cameraman working for ITV News interviewed Mr. Abu Salul about his intentions. Then, just a few seconds later, fearful for his own safety, the cameraman stopped filming as he ran, but resumed a few seconds later.
So that's the reason for the edit is the cameraman ran and then he resumed filming. Seems pretty reasonable. If I was being shot at, I'd probably stop filming too.
The IDF used this pause in filming to raise doubts. The video is clearly edited, they said in a statement. ITV News has now obtained another video of the shooting, and this recording is...
So the IDF did their usual thing where they say it's fake, it's edited, blah, blah, blah. And then ITV News got another video of the footage.
Continuous. There are no breaks or edits. Here, the two videos are synchronized, and it's clear there was no interference or trickery during the...
So there we go. So there was no deception in the video. That disproves... I don't know why he wanted to play this. It just disproves all his points.
5-second pause in the original recording aired by ITV News. Just after the shooting, our cameraman in the pale blue protective gear shouted, "The tank fired, the tank fired." Here you can make out the tanks to which he referred. The gunfire came from more than one weapon. In this footage, a bullet strikes the wall just above the men's...
So two videos taken from different, I guess, different angles or by different people. One of them is edited a little bit, but when they play the video that's not edited, it seems like completely lines up. And the Israeli general basically took responsibility for the incident, calling mistake.
Heads. We showed our material to a ballistics expert who concluded after acoustics analysis that the gunfire, which continued, came from the direction of the tanks. Our cameraman.
So that's proof that it was most likely the IDF. I mean, I don't know why Destiny wanted to play this video, honestly.
Is in no doubt.
While I was trying to film, I noticed many military vehicles. I kept glancing back and forth between the vehicles and the group of men. I noticed a laser beam coming.
ABC News was among the...
Then I heard sniper fire.
The American network ABC News was among the international broadcasters who aired our story.
Cameraman of our partner network, ITV.
ABC were taken into Khan Yunis by the IDF at the weekend, and they asked the commander of Israeli forces in southern Gaza about the shooting of Mr. Abu Salul. The brigadier general was forthright.
Waving a white
Oh, you're
flag.
talking about that incident?
Yeah, that's
We're investigating that
a man holding white flags.
Yes, I'm
Unarmed shot dead.
I'm investigating.
Those are your troops.
Yes, yes, those are my troops, and I'm investigating.
So here we have that the general admits that it was his troops. It wasn't just like Hamas or ISIS.
That incident. That is not the way we carry out our rules of engagement. No, we don't fire at people waving white flags. We don't fire at civilians.
But you do sometimes.
We don't. Every incident that is a mistake, and they are mistakes. They're not perfect.
So it was a mistake. Okay, one mistake happens. I mean, it's a mistake where someone dies is quite the mistake. If you were
This is democracy now. Democracy
if
now.
you were in America, for example, you would still catch a manslaughter charge. So it's not like you can just kill someone by mistake. You need to show self-defense for it to be valid legally.
News was among the international broadcasters.
So my troops, and I'm investigating that incident. That is not the way we carry out our perfect. We are in a combat zone under great threat to our people. We investigate every mistake that is done.
Asked for a comment about this interview, the IDF press office said the brigadier general meant that his men were in the vicinity at the time and that the incident was being looked into.
So, John, a significant development. Could there be any repercussions, do you think?
Okay, so that essentially covers it. Yeah. Destiny, are you done on your end? All right, I guess Destiny's still watching. Destiny.
Okay. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah. What's up?
Okay.
I went through most of it. So I don't know. So this video just supports most of my points. Number one, the Israeli general took responsibility and said, yes, it was our troops that fired. It was a mistake. So we now know that it wasn't like ISIS or Hamas that killed those people, that it was the soldiers. And if he's saying it was a mistake, that means there's no valid reason for them to be killed, right? And then also the other big thing is that you made a point like, well, this video is edited, blah, blah, blah. But you can see the other angle of it, which shows the whole thing happening, and it happens exactly the same in the full cut video. So this video, I don't know why you want me to play this, but this video just proves my point.
Okay. No. Hold on. Okay. There's a lapse in critical thought when you say, I don't know why you wanted me to play this. Okay. So the first question I had was were the first set of shots the ones that killed the guy, because there's a cut afterwards. And then we see on a continuous video feed that there's only one set of shots. When you say, I don't know why you would want me to play this video, it's because now we've established that. We couldn't establish that with the video before. Do you understand that? Wait. Do you understand that point that I just said? Very simple point. Do you understand that or not?
Yes, we have established that what you saw in the first video actually happened.
No. That's...
Okay. We saw there's no deceptive editing.
Yes. Closer, yes. I just wanted to know if there were two sets of shots or not. Two sets of shots or not. We didn't know that from the first video because there's a cut. But now we saw in a second video, okay? In the second video, we see that it doesn't seem like there was a second set of shots. So that's good to establish. So I don't know why you would say, I don't know why you watched the second video, because now we've established with a continuous feed that it was just one set of shots, right?
No, the reason I said I don't know why you pulled up is because it supports my point. I mean, I do appreciate you bringing
Wait. I'm not here. I'm not, what? Why would I not ever bring up a video that supports your point? Your point might be correct. You just haven't given any evidence for it. That's what I'm trying to figure out. That's what I'm trying to establish. Your point might be correct. This might have been an unjustified shooting where they targeted a civilian for no good reason, and they just killed a guy.
That's what the general said.
No, that's not at all what the general said.
He said, yes, it was us. We made a mistake.
No, he said that his troops were in the area and that mistakes happen, but they don't intentionally shoot civilians. That's a way different statement than they intentionally shot people that they knew were civilians.
No, I'm not claiming they intentionally shot them. I've never made that claim. You asked me to speculate, and I said that's a possibility. But I'm not saying that. I'm just saying this is pure recklessness and basically indiscriminate shooting, right? They fired on people. The general takes responsibility for it.
He hasn't taken responsibility for it. He said mistakes happen. Mistakes is not responsibility.
Okay, do you want to go back and just listen to the part with the general?
I already did. I wrote it down. But here, okay, one more thing, and then we can move on from this particular one if you want, okay? Can we just watch this from 1 minute onwards, and I'll just listen to your thing?
Okay, sure. Okay.
Just for like 2 minutes, I guess.
Okay, that's fine. What can you just tell me what you're looking for, so maybe I can find.
Apparently, it's more video footage from before the shooting. Somebody like I haven't listened to any of these yet, though, so I don't know. So this might fully support your point. It might. I don't know. I just want to.
Israeli military told us it was not aware of the incident. Then said we had
You can go to like 1 minute.
Wait, I think this part is important. So first they said they were not aware of the footage. Then they said the footage was deceptively edited, right? So they kept changing the story in line. That's important.
of an Israeli war crime.
Wait, you're looking at the same thing. I linked a tweet. Click this.
Wait, do you want to watch the video or do you want to watch a tweet?
The video and the tweet that I just linked. You're clicking the same thing that I sent you from before.
Okay. So we are in agreement about this video.
No, we don't agree, but we're never probably going to agree.
So what do you think I'm saying that's incorrect when it comes to this?
You're saying that this general has taken responsibility for this specific incident. That's just not true, but we're never going to agree on that because you think him saying, my troops are in the area and mistakes happen, you think that's him taking responsibility. It's not, but we're never going to agree on that point.
Almost taking responsibility.
No, not at all. That's not at all. He has no idea. He said themselves that they're investigating the incident, so he's not taking any...
Why would he say mistakes happen if... There was a
wait, stop. You can't make a broad appeal every time the individual example fails. We're just trying to establish this one example just to see if something happened.
The most common sense explanation for this is probably that the IDF opened fire on them for no specific reason, and now the general is taking accountability and saying, first, also it's important to look at intent, how Israel changed their story. First, they were like, we're not aware of this instance. Then they said it's deceptively edited, and now we have the general coming forward and essentially taking responsibility, saying, hey, mistakes happen. This is war. Mistakes happen, right? So at the best case scenario, this was just a bad mistake by the IDF. Best case scenario. For you.
I don't, you keep saying like best case for you, but I'm just trying to figure out what happened. You haven't established anything yet. All I'm trying to do is build the argument here on either side. That's what we're looking at this video. It's not about like, it's for you, the best case for you. I don't know. I don't even have a position. I haven't heard about this particular incident until 30 minutes ago when you linked it to me. I have no position in this whatsoever. I'm just evaluating the footage and I'm saying, well, this could be possible. This looks likely. I'm not sure. You're getting a video from a Palestinian source, a Palestinian guy on the ground telling you, Alex, I want you to believe that the IDF killed civilians. The initial video that you showed me was dog shit. So now we found a larger video clip that at least shows that it wasn't as dog shit because we can see an unedited clip. Now I'm just curious about the context before and after. That's all I want to know. I'm just trying to get a picture of what is actually happening here before I decide like whether or not this is like a...
Let me just ask you a question. Do you think there's a difference between going off what some Palestinian on the ground said and what we see in the video that's especially verified by news organizations? Don't you think those two on the same tier?
When you say verified by a news organization, we're not verifying the important stuff.
Well, yeah, the stuff that we are validating is, number one, this video is real. Number two, it's not edited deceptively. Number three is that everything aligns, the first video, the second video, and accounts from witnesses, right? So they're pulling all that data together and making their own assessment, right? So, yes, all of that is clear. Now, the one thing we don't know is why they were killed, right? But from the general himself is saying it was a mistake.
He didn't say that about this particular... If the general said it was a mistake, why are they also investigating? Why would he need to investigate if he already knew it was a mistake?
PR ass covering, bro.
Then why would he say that? Why would he admit it's a mistake if he's PR ass covering?
Well, he probably, well, when you go further in the video, you see that the official statement for IDF is quite different. I think he just had a moment of authenticity, or maybe he just didn't think it would be a bad look. I don't know why.
Okay, well, okay, that's okay.
Maybe he's. I don't know the speculation of why this general told the truth. I don't know. Maybe he's just an honest guy.
Okay, let's just watch this from a minute. I go to 1 minute in this video that I linked on the tweet, the last thing that I sent you, and then we'll watch for like 2 minutes just because somebody said this has some footage before and after.
It says the page doesn't exist when I click on it.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Like here, I'll share my screen. Okay, so here I am. This is the link.
Try like refreshing it like 5 times. Sometimes Twitter is fucking stupid.
Well, I think someone either got the link wrong or they're trolling you. I don't know, but this is...
Well, it's loaded on my screen. So, are you logged into Twitter right now?
No, but I can pull it up on my phone.
It might, maybe that you're not. Yeah, you have to have an account. You're gonna be logged in to view it.
Usually it doesn't say that. It usually just says, like, it doesn't let you like see the messages, so you can see the video.
Okay. Try opening on your phone to see if it works, I guess.
Okay, let me just try to. Okay, I don't want to do that publicly, but okay, let me just try to do it on my phone. That's probably the easiest way to go about this. So I'm gonna send this to myself.
Wait, let me know when you start it, and then I'll go start it on mine to listen.
Yeah, well, first I'm just testing to see if anyone works on my phone.
Okay.
Okay, actually, yes, it does work on my phone. So, horrifying Euromed HR documented the execution of Palestinian civilians in the Nazi area 2 days ago. IT news photographer captured this after were displayed from the area, declared the area safe by the Israeli army. We actually get some more answers here for following this person. After civilians were escaped from the mayor, declared earlier safe by the Israeli army, bearing a white flag, citizen tried to rally the family was executed by Israeli. Okay, let me see if I can play that. It seems like it's just going to support my point, but I appreciate you, I guess, wanting to.
Okay, I'm going to mute this and I'm going to listen from about 1 minute to 3 minutes. I'll be back.
News at 10 has evidence of a group of unarmed Palestinians carrying a white flag coming under fire in an area Israeli troops are now trying to capture, having previously declared it a place of safety. One of the group was hit and fatally wounded as our cameraman filmed. The Israel Defense Force had dismissed our evidence. The IDF is not aware of this incident, they told us. But our filming has, however, already raised questions about a possible war crime. What we are about to show is, by its very nature, distressing.
This is the edge of the supposedly safe area called Al-Mawasi that the Israelis have been encouraging Gazan civilians to flee to. These makeshift homes have been vacated because the war is getting closer.
Wait, fuck, hold on. Alex. Wait, hold on. I gotta unmute. Wait, they say you're playing the same video. Are you playing the tweeted? The tweet?
Yeah, literally your tweet from that Rami guy. It's just that it seems like they show a lot of similar stuff. Have you actually seen this video? Because it seems like it's going to support my point as well.
I'm watching it right now, but I don't. Are you sure it's the right one? Oh, no, wait. I started at 1 minute. I started at 1 minute. I'm sorry. My audience is fucking retarded.
This is what I clicked on.
Yep, I'm sorry. My audience is fucking retarded. Okay, I'm going up to 3. I'm just watching up to 3 minutes. Okay.
That has been forcing more families to evacuate and seek safety elsewhere.
No place safe in Gaza. Everywhere you are going, you will find the Israeli army. They are shoot us at home, any building, in the street, everywhere you are. They will give you a chance sometimes, just for 5 minutes. Sometimes do not give you any chance to take your clothes, to take your children, to take your family, and to get out of the building. This is our life in Gaza. It's very difficult.
These pictures were filmed by a cameraman working for ITV News in Gaza. As he moved forwards towards the combat zone, he noticed this group of men doing their utmost to appear non-threatening, trying to proceed with care. They wanted to reach 2 other family members and get them out of harm's way.
حوالي 50 نازح او 70 نازح موجودين في البيت الثاني، اللي يخش عليه يطلعونا، واخويا ما طلعوش. بدنا نروح يعني نطلع ان شاء الله.
The interview complete, our cameraman walked away.
ان شاء الله بالسلامه.
And then this happened. The interviewee had been shot, fatally wounded. You can see them place their flag on his chest. As he was carried away, the white flag was turning red.
I mean, I think we saw what we needed to see. Yeah, in case you guys are wondering why the shaking, number one is that I'm not used to like fucking holding a phone like this, and I have to hold it very, very close to the camera. Number two, I have some minor neurological issues from the Lyme disease, so yeah, it's not a big deal. Okay, I'm done on my end, Destiny. Well, I mean, I'll watch 4 minutes of it. It seems like exactly the same thing as what the other videos show. I don't really see what this adds to the picture. Destiny. Oh fuck, we only have like 20 minutes. I really want to get through the other things. I have like 6 million videos. Destiny, you're muted, so I don't know if you're talking to me right now. Alex shaking because Diddy in the room off camera. Well, try doing this. Try an exercise. Hold your phone like this. Look at the camera, right? Because there's a difference. Like if you look at it like this, it's not really shaking significantly, right? But when you're really close, try holding your phone to the video browser and keep it steady like this with your arm out for 4 minutes. I challenge anyone to do that. I don't know who Destiny's talking to right now.
Okay, wait, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So it sounds like he's saying that the IDF told them to evacuate. They wanted to reach family members that were being surrounded by the IDF anyway, and they were going to walk forward knowing that there were troops there into a combat zone and cross battle lines.
Okay, so when did they say that they were told to evacuate?
The hold on. When they're interviewing the guy at around 2 minutes, the things say, I have my mother and brother in there with around 50 or 70 displaced people in another house. And then the next thing he says is, the Israelis came to us and told us to evacuate, but they didn't let my brother out.
Okay.
We want to go and try to get them, God willing.
Okay, so yeah, so people's brother is being held up for no reason. And
Wait. Why did you just say that? Wait, why did you say for no reason?
For no reason? Well, that's what they think.
No, wait. Why did you say that, though? He didn't say that. He didn't even say that here.
Well, because I feel like if there was a reason, then the IDF, in its comment, in its 3 different times they changed the story, would have said, hey, this was a high priority terrorist. This guy was known for blah, blah, blah. They would have definitely given a good reason. But when the general who was there says,
wait, they don't comment on every person they kill. That's just not true.
Whenever there's a controversy, right? Whenever there's a controversy, Israel always gives its best defense.
No, they don't. That is not true. What you just said is not true. Israel does not always give commentary on every single person killed or every single one of these shootings. Also, this might have literally just happened. They didn't have time to like...
Is that what I said?
Yes, you're saying that didn't you just say verbatim they always comment on these things? Wait, did I misunderstand you? What did you say?
What I said was when there was an incident, something that's like disputed, something that the whole world was talking about, they always give their best side of the story. That's just generally how any country is. So yeah, I'm not talking about any random incident that no one knows about. I'm talking about very public incidents like this. And they did comment on it 3 different times. At first they said that it wasn't them. Then they said the video footage was edited. And then finally the journal
Hold on. You keep spinning this narrative of they changed their story 3 times. What I remember was the first time I think they said they didn't know if they had people operating the area. The second time they said it looked like the footage was edited, which the footage that we saw was. And then the third time they said, I don't know if they made a statement or just that one general guy said.
They didn't say, very important distinction, they didn't say that the footage looks edited. They said the footage was edited. They made a definitive claim.
Well, the footage that we saw was edited.
But the implication is that it's deceptively evident.
You don't know if it's deceptively edited. If it's edited, that's the whole point of an edit.
It's so funny how you give Israel every benefit.
I'm not getting. Hold on. Hold on. You have to be able to engage with the words that I'm saying without getting mindfucked because it's Israel. Okay. Do you acknowledge that this statement is logically true? You do not know if edited footage is edited deceptively. That is the point of an edit. If every edit was deceptive, then edits wouldn't work. The whole point of an edit is you don't know if it's deceptive or not. Do you understand that sentence? Without talking about Israel or Russia, do you understand that sentence that I just said?
Yes, but there's a but that I want to mention. You have to look also at the context. And if the context is, hey, why do you guys shoot these people? And they say the footage is edited. The implication is that the other side of the story is incorrect. That's an implication. Why would they be just stating random facts? Like when they're specifically being asked to comment on the shooting, why would they be talking about, oh,
they might not have, they said they didn't want to comment. They said it sounded, I thought what I read was, we can go back and check. I thought they said they don't want to comment on it, but the footage that you're giving us is edited. I thought that's what they said. I don't think they gave a comment on it.
No, I believe they said the video was edited.
They didn't deny shooting the guys. I mean, it's pretty obvious these guys are walking towards the IDF, no?
No, first of all, they sort of played dumb for the first one. They said, well, we don't know if it was us, blah, blah, blah.
Wait, hold on. Is it not possible that they don't know? That they don't know where every single battalion is in response to every single accused shooting from a video they got at every single point in time throughout all of, like, the war? Sure, that's totally possible, no?
That could be a mistake. It would give them a lot of benefit of the doubt. Then, though...
Wait. Hold on. Do you think that it's a benefit? No, wait. You can't... No. You can't hand wave every single totally reason... I'm asking these questions to say that what I'm making is, like, barely reasonable. But this is an overly reasonable argument. But you're hand waving this like, that's impossible. You're telling me that Israel doesn't know about every single encounter between the IDF and a civilian at every single point in time? Yeah, you do, because you're like, well, maybe that's possible. And then you move on like it's a totally unbelievable point that I'm bringing up.
So I said, of course, it is possible that they didn't know. It's possible, yes. But then if we have to look at this in the context. And then the context is the second time, they, instead of saying we don't know, they said the video is edited, another excuse. And then finally, the general basically said essentially it was a mistake, right? So that is
no, he didn't say, okay, none of this, okay, fuck, I don't know. Literally none of what you said was true. The general did not say that this particular incident...
True. Just tell me what...
The general did not say that this particular incident was a mistake. He said that mistakes happen in war. He said there was an investigation on this particular incident. He did not comment on this particular... He didn't say my troops in this circumstance made a mistake or we made a mistake shooting these people. That was not what was said.
So if he's being asked to defend the situation that his soldiers engage in, why would he say there's mistakes that happen? Why would he talk about that unless it's a mistake?
Because mistakes do happen. There might be civilians that get killed and they shouldn't have gotten killed, but he said in this particular instance, there is an investigation.
The investigation is to see whether the shooting was valid. And he said, like, if you're asked, hey, why did these people die? And you say the mistakes happen in war. There's, there's a lot of mistakes. And he acknowledges that his troops and tanks were in the area, then that's a pretty strong implication that this incident was a mistake. Because otherwise, he would not say that. Just use some common sense.
Okay, so do you acknowledge then that these people knew that they were walking towards an active combat area?
It seems like that's the case, yeah.
Okay, so they're walking towards an active combat area. They know the IDF is there. We now know that. They know that the troop positions are about 100 meters out, so that is why they're holding the flag and the passport. They were told to evacuate this area, and they continue walking towards that area where one of their family members is being held by the IDF. Do we acknowledge all of that?
They were told with one caveat. These people specifically weren't told to evacuate. There's a statement that the village earlier was told to evacuate. We don't know if they got the memo or not.
Wait, hold on. They're literally holding bags with their clothes. What do you mean? They weren't evacuating?
Well, let me just grant you that premise and say they were told to evacuate. Okay.
Okay.
Yep. Next, is that still a justified shooting?
If they were told, don't come to this area, and they keep approaching that area, yes, that would be...
We don't know if they were told, don't come to this area. You're purely speculating that.
Okay.
If that was the case, the general would literally say, hey, they were told multiple times, don't come to this area, don't come to this area.
The general probably doesn't know all the details for this particular incident. That's why there's an investigation.
He's the general for that platoon. How does he not... Who else knows if it's not this guy?
What? The people there know. Do you think that he knows every single engagement that all of his troops have with everybody on the ground at all points in time?
No, but I think where there's a big issue, the person in charge is going to question his soldiers.
I don't know if this is even a big issue before it was brought to their attention.
Well, it's clearly a big issue. I mean, this is...
Wait, clear to who? I mean, now that it's on the news, it is, but at the time, it might not have been.
Right, but why was there 3 different comments made, right? So
you already said the first. None of these are contradictory, and you're not understanding almost any of the comments. The quote at the end was, "No, we don't fire at people waving white flags. We don't fire at civilians."
Did I say that the 3 statements by IDF were contradictory? Did I say that?
Yes, that's what it means when you say the story changed. One contradicts the next.
No, they don't necessarily need to contradict. Oh, okay, fine. I'll grant you that. Yeah, sure. The story contradicts. But there is a contradiction between saying, okay, if we give Israel every benefit of the doubt, we say, at first they said, oh, we're not sure if it was us. We didn't have any troops in the area. That is contradictory to what the general said, which is, yes, we have troops in the area. So that's a contradiction in of itself.
Who would the first be? Well, if they reach out to the first person, that probably wasn't the general. They're probably reaching out to like a general IDF, not a general, like a general. They're probably reaching out to like an IDF spokesperson. And then they probably found this particular platoon and they talked to these particular people afterwards. Wouldn't it make sense?
Why would he make that definitive statement without checking with the general in charge?
I don't know. He either made a mistake or he shouldn't have made this.
So then the assumption is always when IDF is asked a common incident is like, well, yeah, I don't think it was us because they've done no investigation. They didn't actually talk to the people. I'm not even talking about investigation. They didn't actually talk to the general who's there. Their auto defense is, yeah, we don't think it was us.
My story is way more reasonable than your story that they just randomly shot civilians with white flags.
What do you think my story is?
It seems like your story was that a guy got trigger happy and started shooting at civilians with white flags for no reason.
No. I said, you asked me, why do you think he did? And I speculated. I don't know why he shot them. Here's my story. Let me just repeat it one more time. Is that there was 4 people.
Wait, real quick. Let's do this. You're going to do this, okay? Let's both state our full stories, and then let's state the supporting evidence for our story, and then we can leave it at that and go to your next thing.
Okay, yeah. Do you think we're going to have time? Because I have so much shit I want to go through.
Okay. We can go through one way and then go to this, but...
Okay. So here's my story. There was 4 people who were in an area where there was fighting. One of their family members was captured, and they essentially wanted to go over there and see if they could free him. Not through aggressiveness or violence, just have a conversation and see what was going on. What? They're walking. Your head is gonna fall off.
They want to go have a conversation with the military that has captured a person and free them without using violence. Okay, sorry.
Why are you screaming? Just let me tell my side of the story then.
Okay, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Okay, so I'll just stick to the facts. Okay, so there's 4 people. They're in an area where there's combat, even though that area was also told to be safe as a safe area. So that's kind of contradictory in and of itself. So at first they're slowly walking, and they kind of stop, and then they start slowly walking again. One of them gets murked, and one of them dies. And NBC News and ITV does an investigation and finds that that's basically what happened through interviews and through 2 videos. Now, other things I would have to speculate on.
And then what is your leading speculation on why they were shot?
Why does it matter?
Well, because you must have some story that you're like, why do we think they were shot? If you had to guess.
I think there could be any number of reasons. I'm not going to presume to know what was inside that soldier's head. It could be any number of reasons. Reason number 1, like I said earlier.
To be clear, your initial reason for bringing this up, story up, the whole reason why we're on this story is because you said it was an example of soldiers like indiscriminately or intentionally targeting civilians. So how can you not have any guess whatsoever in what's in the soldier's mind?
Okay, let me first just give you the definition of indiscriminate shooting. A bombing or shooting of a civilian area without any specific military target. So it seems like there's no specific military target, and also it seems like they shot those people. Actually, that's pretty clear. So, I mean, that's literally in of itself. Now, if you want me to speculate, I can give you several explanations. One of them could be the soldier was trigger happy. Number 2 could be that he accidentally pressed on that bullet. On that thing. Number 3 could be that dude actually wanted to kill some Palestinians that day. Number 4 could be some kind of miscommunication with chain of command. He thought his commander said this. In reality, it wasn't that. So there could be any number of reasons why he did. I'm not saying that this soldier deliberately tried to murder them. What I am saying is this was an indiscriminate shooting where someone who posed no threat to the IDF was shot and killed.
Okay. My version of the story is a family was told to evacuate, and the IDF felt, for whatever reason we don't know, that at least one person was worth holding on to. So The family evacuates. A brother, at least, and maybe another family member or more, are kept behind by the Israeli military. As the family evacuates south, a group of them come back with the goal of getting that family member out of the IDF's hands. They talk to the camera and they say, we know there are battle lines up there. We know the IDF is up there. We're going to walk up there, wave a white flag and a passport, and hope that they let us go in and get our brother back. So they walk into an area that is clearly a hot area, that is clearly a combat-ready zone. They've got a guy filming it as they all walk up there. They walk up there with the white flag, stop for a second. I don't know what happens. They keep walking. They get shot at. They drag the guy back. They bring his wife forward so that she can cry on camera. They bring the guy back on a stretcher with hospital.
Cry on camera, dude? Like, really, you think that if your husband gets shot, you need to actually cry on camera? You don't think?
Yeah, that's what happened. Yes.
You don't think someone's naturally going to cry if they're...
They literally have a direct cutaway shot of her running down the street so that they can watch her run to her dead husband, her martyr husband, and cry on camera. Yes, that is exactly what happened. Yes, that is the video and the tweet. I'm sorry if that's offensive to you, but that's literally what the Pallywood cameras were catching, okay? So they catch the wife running up to her dead husband and crying. They put the nice white flag that's now all blood and ready, bloody and red on the guy, and they carry him away, okay? So it seems like...
Don't say it's offensive to me. I'm not offended by any of this.
Oh, okay. Well, I was just telling you what was on the camera. That's literally what was caught. Yes.
So do you think it's a justified shooting then?
If it was a combat zone and if they knew they weren't supposed to go there and they continued to advance anyway, yes, it is a justified shooting. Yes.
Do you think that if this incident occurred in America where there was a police officer holding up someone's family member and they very slowly walked towards them and that person got shot, would the police officer do jail time and lose his badge?
That would... It's so hard to draw the comparison between policing and military, but yes, if the police were holding somebody who was like a suspected murderer or killer, and their friend came to try to break him out of the police custody, yeah, that friend would be attacked by the police, arrested, or killed. Yes, that's exactly what would happen. Do you think that, hold on, do you think that if a perimeter was drawn by the police, do you think they would let in a family member to go and save the suspect?
No, I don't think their first comment would be to shoot the guy. They would either physically restrain them. They would first try communication. Then they would try to physically restrain them. If that doesn't work, they would use a taser, okay?
Okay, so hold on. The communication doesn't matter. They were already told to evacuate, and they already know they're approaching a combat zone. So the communication doesn't matter.
We don't know if these people are told to evacuate.
We do. He says it. He literally says they told us to evacuate.
He was talking about the village. The village earlier was told to evacuate.
He said the Israelis came to us and told us to evacuate, but they didn't let my brother out.
The village, the whole village was told to evacuate.
The guy that walks up and gets killed says this. They came to us. He's part of us. That's what that pronoun means.
Us could also mean the whole village. Do you not?
He's part of the village.
Right. So they told him, but there's a difference between telling him personally, hey, you have to get the fuck out here. And
dude, wait, they have to walk up to each and every individual person and say, you don't come here, you don't come here, you don't come here, you don't come here. What?
Yeah, God forbid you do a little precaution so someone innocent doesn't die.
They already did the precaution, and you can tell they did the precaution. That's why they walk up with the white flag and the passport, because they know they're not supposed to go there. Yes.
That's not what commonly happens. Even the Israeli captives had a white flag because they also knew that their own country is very trigger happy. Why would, if that was the case, then why would Israeli hostages who've been released also walk around with a white flag? Unless they're also concerned about being shot.
I don't know the specifics of that situation. I have to comment on it, so I'm not even going to speculate because I haven't watched all the video footage from that.
Okay, let's move on to the next thing. I don't think we're going to agree on this, so I want to show you at least.
Okay, I've got like five minutes.
You're just fucking.
Why can't you start earlier than 8 p.m.? Where are you at 1?
I could have if you told me you start earlier.
Oh, well, here, if you want, tomorrow I'm fucking streaming from like 1 to 9. We could just start like way earlier if you want.
Okay, let me think tomorrow what I have going on. Yeah, I think I could probably do like 7 p.m. tomorrow.
Okay, if you do 7, we're going to hit the same time constraint because we're already done an hour here and we've only gotten through one video. But if you want, we can do 7 o'clock tomorrow.
Yeah, 2 hours will probably be enough. All right, let me just show one more video.
Okay, I have a feeling it's going to be all the same questions and concerns, but...
اليوم محבל, اليوم انا شغال في غاز. تيجي ما تعرف ما هو فتح الجزيرة نو شبانو من شكام وصفيف
Just perfectly common. When he said this, he means he was like I'm not a threat, like putting his hands up. We have his fellow soldiers basically cheering him on for murdering this old man. I don't know. He hid under his bed. Oh yeah, you have to shoot him. So, Destiny, what do you think happened here? Let's just make sure we're on the same planet.
We're not going to be, by the way, after this, but go ahead.
Well, what do you think happened in this video that I showed?
I have no idea. I don't trust anything about this video. The spooky music, the tons of things cut together from different conversations, and all the spliced footage, and the whatever channel this came from, I have zero trust in this video. The first thing I would do is I would ask a native speaker to translate, because I wouldn't even trust the translations, because the bottom of the video is blurred.
I watched 2 different versions of this, where there's 2 different sets of translations from what things were translated. It aligns pretty perfectly.
That's fine. You might say that, but obviously I'm not trusting your analysis or critical analysis of these videos.
Do you think I'm lying to you right now?
No, I don't know if you know what a good source is. When you say like CNN or NBC is a good source, that doesn't mean anything. Or when you say like these people verified a video, that doesn't mean anything. So I would just ask a native speaker that I know to translate the video. So that would be step 1. Step 2 is
let's say a native speaker confirms everything in there. Then what's your position?
Let's say what?
Let's say
okay. Hold on. Okay. Hold on. I think that you have a position first, and then you're trying to find information to justify it afterwards.
That's a complete no, that's not what I'm doing.
Okay, hold on. Just let me
just explain this, because you made a claim that I'm starting with a position and then I'm trying to find evidence to justify. That's not true. When this whole conflict began, I was extremely pro-Israel. I have family in Israel. I've been to Israel. I was much more biased towards Israel, right? Initially, I would have debates about this with my friends, like a month in, and they would be like, "Hey, I think they're killing a lot of people and discriminate bombing." I would say, no, I don't think Israel does that. So I only changed my position after I started seeing evidence after evidence after evidence. And I literally changed my position on something last night. It's going to be too long to get into. I was talking to Avi for 3 hours. He showed me some data, and I changed my position on one thing. So no, your assumption is fundamentally false. You're
okay. I understand. The reason why I feel that way is because you present a situation that I don't see enough evidence for anything. I don't even know what the argument being made is. And then when I try to seek clarifying evidence, you go, oh, well, if you saw this, then what would your position be? I don't even have a position. I have no position on that video. My first thing that I'm doing that you view it as like building evidence or whatever. I'm just doing fact finding. Like when I was showing you videos and you're like, I don't know why you would show me this. It's helping my case. I don't even have a case yet. Our case might be the same. I'm just doing basic fact finding. So on the video that I just saw, I don't know anything about that. First of all, the thing said it was from November 6th, which is already really weird. I don't know why we're getting a video from like 4 or 5 months ago. The spooky music makes it really weird as well. I don't even know what channel that came from. But hold on, wait. I'm just saying that like all of these things I would need to get translations done from people that I trust, native speakers that I know, because I already don't trust whatever the spooky music video go. Then I would have to find information of like, okay, well, who got killed? I need the name of the person or some kind of information about it. And then I would try to see if there are news stories around then. So I could say, okay, well, what was the story about this particular thing? And then I would have a better understanding of what it is I've just seen. Because right now I have no idea. I don't even have a position on what I just watched. I don't even know what the fuck I just watched.
So let's just assuming that everything in that video is true. Then what you watched was an IDF soldier shooting a guy who was hiding under his bed or surrendering, and then essentially laughing about with his friends. They all validate him, and they go in and put 3 extra shots in that same person. 3 extra shots. So the person's already dead, and they want to make sure they put 3 extra shots. Assuming the video is true, assuming the translation is true, that is absolutely 100% what happened. Can you at least acknowledge that?
Yeah, tautologically. If what is stated is what is happening, then what happened is what was stated, yes.
But when you say that your position might be the same as mine, so your position is that Israel has committed war crimes?
What? I'm just talking about this particular thing you've shown me. I have no idea I don't have a position yet. I wouldn't start with all the assumptions that everything I'm being shown from a spooky, highly edited video is true. I almost always believe these things start off as false.
I didn't mean to scare you.
I'm just talking basic media literacy. Typically, if you're a media literate person, when you see a spooky cut together video like that, it's meant to evoke a certain feeling in somebody like you, and then it makes you think like, oh, the IDF must have found an old poor guy in the room going like, oh, don't kill me, and then they shot him 3 times underneath his bed, while recording the entire conversation on body cam that the IDF then releases for the entire world to see that the IDF soldiers are actually just bloodthirsty murderers that kill innocent old men hiding under their beds. So for me personally, that whole thing is pretty crazy, so I wouldn't trust a spookily edited video with scary music in the background. That's just, in my opinion, that's really dumb. I would look for the original sources on any of this. That's what I would do.
IDF constantly self-snitches on themselves. There's the Telegram groups, there's the TikTok. They're constantly uploading shit that looks really, really fucking bad. So I would not put it past some IDF soldier thinking this is funny, uploading it to TikTok or posting it in a Telegram group. So it doesn't mean that IDF officials approve it. Of course, they probably would not, because it makes it look really, really bad.
You think IDF soldiers are uploading their own body camera footage to TikTok for jokes and memes?
Not for jokes, for memes. They're uploading it because they actually want to, basically show a point that, hey, fuck these guys.
Do you think, hold on, I'm curious. I don't know the answers. Does the IDF even have access to their own body cam footage like that? I bet, I'm sure they could take cell phone videos, but do the individual soldiers have the ability to download and access their own body cam footage?
I don't know. Maybe. Yeah. We're speculating right now. I don't know. I don't have an answer to that. I can look it up for next debate. Wait, can I just show you one more thing?
Sure.
So this is the thing that changed even Alex Jones's mind.
What does that mean? Even Alex Jones's mind?
Because Alex Jones is like super far right, super like pro-Israel simp, and now he's like changed his mind, saying it's a genocide. Again, I'm not saying that proves anything. I'm just saying it's impressive when he does a complete 180. When anyone does a complete 180. Okay, let's just quickly take a look at this. Okay, that's happened. Boom, drone strike. Second drone strike.
Wait, are you watching something? Because I can't see anything right now if you're...
Wait, really? Am I not sharing my screen? Oh,
I think I know the video you're talking about, though.
Okay, let me just share my screen for the audience. My bad. It'll be quick. Let's go back here. So just to clarify, the first minute is just them walking. Here we have 2 drone strikes.
ويبدو واضحا من الصور أن هؤلاء الفلسطينيين لا يحملون سلاح ولا يشكلون خطرا على أي شيء أو أي أحد.
Then we have one person running.
يستهدف الشبان ويستشهد منهم 2. لا يمكن عرض الصور كاملة بعد سقوط الصاروخ الأول نظرا لفظاعتها. يستشهد منهم 2 ويظهر في الصور أحد الشبان مبتعدا عن مكان سقوط الصاروخ. وبالعودة للموقع يبدو في الصور أن أحد الشبان يتحرك. كل هذا والمسيرة لم تكن في مكان. وكل هذا
and killed by another drone strike. So, yeah, this we cannot say is edited because we see the whole thing from start to finish, or like not edited deceptively. At least I know they zoomed in on times like that. And so, if we just look, so I actually did get some articles about this. So essentially, there were 4 youths or whatever. That could be. I'll grant your point. Maybe there's 17, whatever. They were walking in a secluded area with no weapons and got murked by a drone. One survived and then was hit a minute later with another drone. In Israel's response, they didn't even say they were Hamas, just said the area has had Hamas people and they're going to investigate themselves. So, according to Israel, not Hamas, civilians in a secluded area with no weapons, just murked from a drone.
Yeah, I would say these guys are almost certainly Hamas. That'd be my guess.
Bro, you're becoming almost like a parrot. Are you trolling me right now? Just tell me you're trolling me.
I just don't think you have any idea how any of this stuff works.
So, is that your argument? IDF itself didn't say they were Hamas. They said that if they were Hamas, IDF would have said that. They said
that argument doesn't mean anything. You're just like saying, when you say, well, if they were Hamas, IDF would have said it. That's not true. Hamas or the IDF does not comment on every single killing that might or might not involve Hamas.
On this killing, they did comment, and they said the area has had Hamas people, and they're going to investigate themselves. Right? They didn't say that these people were Hamas. So the IDF did comment, or the Israeli government did comment, but they did not say, hey, these were Hamas.
I don't think that Israel is sending 6 figures worth of ordnance to just kill random civilians. I think that if these people are being monitored, they probably have a really good reason to think that these guys are part of the enemy military. And if they're actually
one shred of proof for that,
it's just knowing how the military works. I think that it's highly unlikely that you're going to be drone striking people from far away that are just random civilians. I'm sure that they had a lot of intelligence surveillance recon on these people. They probably had really good reason, especially because they sent a second bomb to kill the other dude. I seriously doubt these were just ordinary civilians walking around. That would be unbelievable.
What is the reason?
What?
What is the reason?
Just understanding how the military works.
What does that even mean?
It means that if somebody's being struck by air ordnance, it means that there are several different people that are in charge of signing off on the strike. If these guys are being surveilled by a drone, it means that there was some sort of long-term surveillance and recon and intelligence on these particular people.
This is pure speculation on your part.
No. Everything I just said is true. This unbelievably.
How is it true? Where do you get this information from? You're speculating right now that they were being surveilled for a while and they're probably Hamas. You're speculating.
Wait, no. Hold on. Here's the first thing I know. They were being followed by a drone. Correct or not correct?
Yes.
Okay. That is surveillance. Correct or not correct?
You said for a long time.
Hold on. Let's start over. Hold on. Let's start over. Okay. They were being there was a drone, right?
Yes.
Okay. They were being surveilled, right?
For like a minute, yeah.
Oh, okay. Do you think that the drone saw them, and then in 1 minute that Israel flies a drone somewhere, they see somebody, and then they shoot $100,000 bomb to kill these people? Do you think that happens? Do you think that's part of the way that they conduct strikes?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. You should talk to anybody that I can link you a ton of videos for military analysis or any stuff like that. That's not how these strikes are conducted. It's just not how it happens.
Hang on. Why does it matter how Russia or America conducts its military? Like, we need to focus on how the IDF conducts itself.
I don't know. I don't understand how that related to anything we just talked about.
Well, you're talking about just military in general. What we see here in this video...
If Russia or the U.S. did the same thing, I would make the same assumptions. I don't think...
Really? So if Russia, in a drone strike, killed 4 Ukrainian civilians, and their comment was, well, there's some Ukraine military in the area, you would justify that? You'd say, like, yeah, Russia, that was fair. You would really say that it was a fair kill?
I would say that if Russia is targeting people with drones, then the target is probably a military target. I don't think they would send random suicide drones into civilians. I don't think that would happen, no.
Okay, so you would just fully bite the bullet and take Russia's side and say, yeah...
It's not biting the bullet and taking someone's side. It's not always about taking a side. It's just understanding how kill chains work, or it's understanding how ISR works, or it's understanding how these types of military ordinances work. It's not taking a side.
I'm just going to ask this one more time, and I want you to think about this answer. So, let's say the shoes are reversed. We have Russia surveilling or whatever, following 4 Ukrainian civilians with a drone, and then they shoot them. And then when asked to comment, they say, well, we have Ukrainian military in the area. You would just say, yes, that's a valid shooting? That's what you would say when it comes to Russia?
I don't even care what Russia says. So when you say there are military in the area, I don't even know what that means. If Russia releases footage of them looking at somebody with a drone and then a missile hits them, my assumption, and it's going to be a really hard assumption unless a ton of evidence get released, my assumption... What?
You're just literally just giving Israel every benefit of the doubt.
I'm not giving anybody benefit of the doubt. I literally am talking about Russia. You don't like my answer for Russia, now you're pivoting back to Israel. I just said that if Russia had video footage of them on a drone surveilling someone and then a missile came down and struck these people, my assumption is that Russia believed these were military targets. That would be my assumption, yes.
And my assumption is that you would be like, oh, well, they're killing civilians. We need to send them more military aid so they can defend themselves. That's what I think your assumption would really be.
Wait, what? When have I ever even said anything remotely like this? What?
You've argued extremely in defense of Ukraine.
Yes, because I think that Ukraine has a moral reason for war. Just because I'm arguing in defense of Ukraine doesn't mean I'm saying that Russia is targeting and blowing up civilians with bombs.
I've never seen you give Russia's side even one benefit of the doubt. Never.
Because I don't believe they have a just cause for war. Right, but we're not talking about right now. We're not talking about benefit of the doubt. We're just talking about how a military operation is conducted.
Or yeah, so what you're saying is possible, but there's no evidence of that. There's zero evidence that they were surveilled.
You have zero evidence that they're civilians.
No, I think there's an article on that I could pull up.
There's an article that shows that demonstrates they're civilians?
There's an article, yeah, that talks about this. So just give me 1 second. I can probably pull it up.
Okay.
Let me pull it up. So here's an article saying there were civilians. They don't give the exact justification, so I'll try to pull up another one. But just out of curiosity,
wait, you said you had an article that said that the 4 people killed were civilians?
Yes, but they didn't provide more, like more info about them. So that's what I'm saying. But yes, I do have this article.
Link me. I'm curious what it says.
Okay, sure. Give me a second. But just real quick, just one quick question while I do this. Why do you think even Biden would say that Israel is doing indiscriminate bombing?
Political pressure right now, and an election season coming up, and he doesn't want this weighing on him.
It happened way before that. It happened in the early stages.
If you're talking about the comment he made months ago, didn't he literally come out and say he misspoke and he didn't mean to say that? Didn't he walk that comment back?
Yeah, sure, but why did he say it initially?
I don't know, because he fucking heard it, he said it, or some shit. I'm not sure.
The president of the United States is saying there's indiscriminate
Hold on, I'm sorry. Hold on. If you want to play that game, you can do that. I'm super not interested. I don't do analysis of combat operations by taking a single quote that a president, I don't even know if he's analyzed any of this firsthand. I have no idea. Don't care. I super don't care. If that's your argument, I know that they're indiscriminately bombing because Biden said a comment one time where he used the phrase indiscriminate bombing. That's not real analysis. That's quote mining. I don't care. I could give you 50 million quotes of different people saying, yeah.
I never said it was. I was just making one additional comment that buttresses my point. I wasn't using that as like a big source of evidence. I understand Biden's really old and sometimes he mistakes, but it's not just Biden saying this. It's like literally every single country. But okay.
Wait. Also, where is the article calling them for civilians?
Okay, just give me 1 second because the one I pulled up was from a source that I don't think you would trust. So I want to just find.
Hold on, no. I don't trust this because it's a source. Everybody has like ways of getting information. Al Jazeera can be a legitimate source of news sometimes. There's tons of different places you can get information from. Twitter can be a source of news sometimes, and sometimes CNN and Washington Post can be garbage sources. It just depends. You have to read and look at the article itself.
Okay. And
see who they source in the article, what their source of information is from. Okay. Even Al Jazeera doesn't normally straight out lie. Usually they're citing something else or they're sourcing some other person.
Okay. 1 second. Here it is. I just want to make sure this is the one I was looking up. Yeah, I think this is it. Yep, here it is. I believe this is the same incident. Yep, take a look.
Okay. The AA site. I don't remember what this is from, but okay. Hamilton, Canada. The UN on Friday expressed profound dismay over footage showing Israeli drones bombing 4 Palestinian civilians, stating the incident requires investigation. So they say they use civilian here.
I'm going to send you another source as well.
It is evident from the footage that the 4 civilians did not carry weapons and did not pose any threat. Neither of those two things matter.
It absolutely does matter. if they're carrying weapons, then there's a legit reason for Israel to take them down.
Hold on. Wait. Hold on. You're dead wrong. One, just because somebody is carrying a weapon does not make you a military target. Civilians and police officers can carry weapons. They're not necessarily military targets. So one, that's not relevant. Two, you don't have to be carrying a weapon if you are a militant to be considered a military target. If you're walking around a military base and an enemy attacks your base, you're a legitimate target on the base. Just because you don't have a weapon doesn't make you a target. And then three, there are some people that can be active military targets on active combat zones performing military duties, like commanders that don't carry weapons or don't have a weapon on them. So none of that matters. None of that is relevant.
100 civilians walking around with no weapons, and then you have another group of 100 civilians walking around with an AK-47. Do you think there's going to be a difference in how many of them get killed?
There absolutely is not supposed to be. You cannot do a calculation of this person is a militant or a military target because they have a weapon.
I'm not saying you're allowed to do that legally. I'm just saying that's typically how it works.
No, it's not how it works. No.
That's why they always comment they had no weapons. That's why.
Yes, that's what they do to trick people like you into thinking they were civilians, because you think that whether or not you have a weapon makes you a military target or not. That's not true. That's not how any of that is done.
That's not what I'm saying. I didn't say that at all. You just keep misinterpreting me. So you said that people like me think it's a civilian target. Can you show me some proof that they're not civilian targets? Just like one shred of evidence.
No, I don't know anything about these four people, but I can tell you that the way that these chains work where they target people, it is highly unlikely that you would surveil somebody and shoot $100,000 worth of ordnance at them if they were just random fucks that you had no idea about. They were probably being surveilled for a while, and they shot not once, but I think twice or three times to make sure all of them were dead. And it looked like there was a lookout dude over on the side that started running away too. So I mean, like, these guys were most likely, at the very least, I can say with high confidence, Israel thought they were military targets. Now, did they fuck up? Were they not? That's possible. I can't know 100% what their info is, but they had good reason to think that they were military targets. Otherwise, they wouldn't be sending so much expensive shit to go bomb them.
The level of, I guess, I don't even know how to say this nicely, so don't get offended by this. The level of, like, simping for Israel is, like, blowing my mind. You give them every possible benefit of the doubt.
You're saying this, but you're upset because I gave you the exact same answer for Russia earlier.
Wait, why do you keep gaslighting me? I'm not upset.
I gave you the same answer for Russia earlier. You're just using the same for Israel, but I told you the exact same thing. If Russia did it, I would also assume the exact same thing.
Okay, but why do you keep saying I'm upset? I'm not upset.
Okay, okay.
You're doing like the President Sunday thing. But anyway, so take that aside. So I think the initial point I was making is that you were saying like, oh yeah, they're most likely either military targets or Israel thought they were military targets. According to two sources that I'm seeing, or two articles, they were not military targets, they were civilians. Now, it's true, Israel could have thought that, but just thinking that someone is something is not grounds for killing them. Right?
Yes, it is. That's how law of armed conflict works.
Okay,
yes.
so then Israel could kill all of Gaza because they think they're military targets.
It would be highly unlikely that they would have good reason to believe that all of Gaza are military targets.
What's the reason they have to believe these four were military targets? Just tell me what the reason is.
Well, the quote from the IDF is, it was an active combat. The footage is from an active combat zone in Khan Yunis, which had been significantly evacuated of the civilian population, and in which the troops experienced many encounters with terrorists who fought and moved around in civilian clothing and disguised weapons in buildings and property that are believed to be civilian.
That's like literally all of Gaza.
Okay.
There's military fighting pretty much everywhere. There's military presence pretty much everywhere. I know some areas are safer than others. So, and also, I'm pretty sure in every single part of Gaza, there's some Hamas who are hiding as civilians. So that applies to all of Gaza.
Do you think that all of Gaza is evacuated right now?
No, they're mostly in Rafah.
Okay, so there's terrorists in civilian clothes everywhere. This particular city had been evacuated of most of the civilian population, and the IDF had been fighting troops that were dressed as civilians. That's according to the IDF.
So yeah, they're giving you circumstantial evidence. Well, you know, there's been people there who were dressed as blah, blah, blah. But what they're not saying is, hey, these people were legitimate targets. Now, what you said is if there's a drone strike, it has to go through multiple levels of command. I've heard you say that in other debates, right? So if all these people approved of it, and that's actually, you know, what it was, they were military targets. When asked to comment, why would the IDF just not say, yeah, they were military targets? Why would they give all this weird circumstantial evidence?
They might not want to say for a variety of reasons. I don't know. They might not want to reveal sources. They might not want to reveal if they know who those people are.
They could just say these were military targets because blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
Am I incorrect about any of that?
They might be wrong. Maybe they're not. Maybe they fucked up on their intel and they weren't military targets, so they realized that afterwards. I don't know. I don't know why they comment on what particularly that they comment on. But that's not an argument in favor or against. Didn't they just come out like a week ago and say who they actually killed in that Was it which hospital raid? Didn't that just come out recently? And that was like a month or 2 or 3 ago.
That main hospital that there was lockdown.
Yeah, I don't know what their timeline is for commenting on things. There could be a million reasons why they don't comment on something particularly. One, they don't have to. If they're doing it, they're literally just doing it to fight public perception. That's literally the only reason. So they have to weigh whatever they feel like the risk is of revealing certain information to, well, how important is the PR battle?
What do you think? What do you think is a better argument from the Israeli side? One, these were militants. These are people who've been looking for a while. Or, well, there's some militants in the area, and there's some conflict in the area. Which one of those do you think would be a much stronger argument for the IDF to make?
I don't know.
Well, just think on it for a second. What do you think?
Wait. What was the date of this strike?
The date of the strike was, let me see. The article is March 22nd. I don't know what it is. I can probably find it. But what's the relevance of that?
Well, because apparently the IDF literally said this. The February strike targeted a group of Hamas operatives, the IDF said at the time. You're looking at a totally different incident. Are you sure? Because it comes from this article that is talking about this particular strike.
Let me look at it. You just sent it to me? timesofisrael.com. Okay. The Israeli defense said it was probing leaked drone footage, but zero.
I put the quote above. You can Control F and look at it.
Let me just kind of skim through this. Okay, here's the exact quote. I'm going to show it up. The IDF spokesperson unit said the footage was from an active combat zone in Khan Yunis, which has been significantly evacuated of the civilian population, in which the troops experienced many encounters with terrorists who fought and moved in civilian clothing and disguised weapons in buildings and property that are believed to be civilian. So none of that is saying, oh, we assumed these people were fighters. They're saying that, well, they're giving you a bunch of circumstantial evidence.
First of all, just because evidence is circumstantial doesn't make it bad. Some of the strongest evidence you can collect is circumstantial, number one. Number two, keep reading.
The footage has been handed over to General Staff Fact-Finding Assessment and Independent Military Body responsible for investigating unusual. The military has said that throughout a months-long war, it has regularly encountered terror operatives posing as civilians while moving from as often using intelligence as a monitor to identify target. Just prior to Israel, it was not made clear whether the men seen the footage had been confirmed as combatants. Yeah, I don't know what you think this proves.
It says the February strike targeted a group of Hamas operatives, the IDF said at the time.
But so then they're saying something completely...
Hold on, wait. Your first thing, you said that why wouldn't they just say that they're part of the military? They have said that. So I just wanted you to understand that requirement that you just put on them has been fulfilled. They said it back in February.
So this is completely contradictory to this.
What?
So, statement: the February start targeted a group of Hamas operatives, the IDF said at the time. And then also, the IDF spokesperson unit said the footage was from an active combat zone in Khan Yunis, which had been blah, blah. But he's not saying in this that there were Hamas operatives. He's just giving you circumstantial evidence. So these two things are contradictory.
Wait, hold on. Nothing here is contradictory. It was in response to a query by the Times of Israel. They were probably asking, hey, these guys look like civilians. Why'd you blow them up? And they said, well, it was an active combat zone, and there aren't any civilians there. Most of them are evacuated, and a lot of the terrorists here literally move in civilian clothing.
Why did they just not say this then?
They already have said that. Why would they re-say the same thing?
Because that's the most strong argument. These people were Hamas. If that's true.
No, because they're being asked, why did you shoot at them? They were in civilian garb.
Because they were Hamas.
Okay.
Like, don't you think that it's a much stronger argument? Number one is circumstantial evidence.
No, they're not asking if they're asking how do you know it's Hamas when they're in civilian garb? So you wouldn't just say like they're Hamas.
You don't know the question that was asked. You're just speculating on the question.
The question is, it's a reasonable question when you see 4 civilians getting blown up. That's probably what the question was about. The graphic high-quality footage showed several men struck by munitions while walking in open areas. In response to a query by the Times of Israel, the ADF spokesperson unit said the footage was from and then they described where the footage is from.
Right, but so it says Curie. That could mean, hey, what happened here? or hey, why did these people get shot, or hey, what's the story here? It could be any number of things to get you to that answer.
Okay.
I mean, I feel like you're sarcastically just dismissing what I'm saying, but you know I'm correct about this.
No, you're not correct about this. You're not.
You're 100% sure what the question was asked to the...
I'm not 100% sure what the question asked. I can read the entire article, and it seems like pretty clear what they asked. They asked, why are you blowing up people in civilian garb? That's what it looks like. It's pretty obvious. It's pretty clear. And then they state, like, the rest of what they said about this. They continue to talk about it.
They could have easily just said, what happened here? Why did these people die?
And then they didn't directly answer the question, so these guys just publish it anyway?
Well, yeah, sure, why not? This is Times of Israel. They're pretty pro-Israel, I'm assuming.
How do you know that?
Because it's called timesofisrael.com. Do you think this is a non-biased source? Timesofisrael.com?
You don't know anything about this source. Do you trust Haaretz? Do you trust stuff from Bet Salem? What do you mean? Israel hosts some of its most brutal criticism. What do you mean?
I'm just making a reasonable assumption here that something called Times of Israel is probably not a neutral source.
Nothing is a neutral source. What is an example of a neutral source?
Someone who's unbiased, someone who actually looks at the situation instead of having a one bias like you've accused me of having.
Wait. Give me one example of who would you consider to be a neutral source?
I would say BBC is probably fine. I would say I would trust Washington Post, stuff like that. When it comes to this,
why would you say the BBC or the Washington Post? So you think Britain, their state-funded media, is going to have a completely neutral take on this conflict, or that the Washington Post, that has an editorial staff that's largely leaning in a political way in a certain direction, you think that they are going to have a completely neutral take on this?
No, when I said they're more likely to be neutral, they're going to be close to the center. Obviously, no newspaper, no media is perfect. But I wouldn't trust Times of Gaza, and I wouldn't trust Times of Israel. I would try to look at the assessment and statements from someone who doesn't have as much skin invested in this game.
Okay.
You got more time, or you want to continue tomorrow?
Tomorrow we can go 7 o'clock. Okay. Although that's not gonna be enough time, but we could do it.
You don't think so?
Oh, we already spent almost 2 hours today. We got through like 2 videos.
All right, let's do 6:30 then.
Okay. All right.
All right, buddy.
I'll be here. I love you. Bye.
Take it easy.